Hello, my name is Bruno Olivieri from MacBook Rio, and I will briefly show you our paper entitled Venturing Insights and Ponderings from Real-World Experiment with Flying and Dock Networks and UAVs. This is everything that I'll show belongs to our project named GRADES, which is umbrella for our sponsorship, which is Air Force of Scientific Research from the US. This image will show you 4 UAVs running on a dock network and trying to fly in a synchrony manner. Our main scenario is trust only on rendezvous and opportunistic communication between a swarm of UAVs. Of course, opportunistic communication with the ground as well, with sensor nodes or cluster heads. And sometimes we insert in a single base station to control the experiment and act as a single sync node for the entire system. So we have a very restricted communication, and the number of the nodes changes on the ground and on the air, and we rely only on low-end hardware. So we have this low-end hardware approach on the field. Our methodology is basically verification and validation. With the past, we do almost of our works is regarding verification. We do a lot of simulation with NS2, NS3, FANET++, our own models, MATLAB, and go on. And now, this project is focused on take these works outside the real world and extract more data, not only for make it stronger proposals, but also to use as a feedback to enhance our simulations, even with FANET++ network models. They are very far from the real world. So we'll show some results later. So to do that, we need a lot of software. We are a computer sciences department, not engineering department. So we do a lot of software instead of hardware. In the past, we just do simulation. We have many frameworks available on our FANET++ website, which are dedicated to and customized to use UAVs and more than one high radio in each node inside FANET++. And then we have this field test framework, which for each drone we have a lot of software and hardware on board that. So in this specific case, 5 UAVs to do tests. Sensor nodes we spread over the area, still have a lot of sensors and code to run that, and also of course we need to do a user interface to run the entire scenario, which is not so easy as when you're doing simulations in the lab. We have to organize the field at all. Collect data is not so easy because we have a really physically installed running distributed system with no synchronized clocks, no synchronized memory. So this, even to control the experiment is not so easy. Nothing is simulated on the field. Well, to make life easier, we published last month yet other paper which we introduced in a new Python simulation for distributed algorithm. It is very similar to the old SynAlgo, which focus on a very basic and fast prototype for consensus algorithms, leader election, and go on, and swarm algorithm, of course, movement, completely Python based, very easy to use, and we have some flags that enable to run FANET++ as a network engine or run a pilot software in the loop to run a physical world for the UAV. So you can enhance how real is the simulation until the moment you catch the semi-Python, insert the semi-Python inside the UAV on the field. So let's go to the field. We want to do validations, hardware expensive, but the field is the best place to find new fails and get much more data regarding the same thing that we simulated. We have some trade-offs to discuss in our paper, we have to decide between indoor and outdoor environments. Indoor definitely is the best place to get kinematics validations. However, it's completely centralized and simple communication environment. Almost all solutions take everything in the central MATLAB Simulink solution with VCon motion captures on the roof, and everything goes so smoothly. So we need to simulate everything regarding communication. It goes very smoothly. It's not the real case. When you go outdoor, you don't have this. They have this very fancy shows, which is our very centralized manner, but we can use bigger quadcopters, carry on a single board computer, and run our own code. It's very different than these shows, but the shows are much more fancy than our test. So you need to choose a vehicle if you want to run your own field experiment. The flying cameras are very cheap, 1,000 euros, but they are completely closed. The semi brands have high-end UAVs, high-end quadcopters, hexacopters, octocopters, which you can run your own test, but have some rules and some limitations on the SDK, so it's not so easy. Definitely, if you take into consideration the flight time costs, these two first cases are much cheaper than do it yourself drone. Do it yourself in the first moment looks very, very cheaper than the proprietary drones, but it's not always the same. Actually, they can be much more expensive. However, fully customization is always available, and we need it in the academy. Regarding companion computer, in the past, we have some problems with that, but nowadays we have flexible Raspberry Pis. With Raspberry Pi 5, we have NPUs now. You can run a lot of things inside it. So you have a neural processor unit inside, side by side with Raspberry Pi, which is very, very handy and very flexible. You still have NVIDIA Xavier boards and go on, Jetson boards, which is a nice idea if you really, really need to deal with images. If you don't need it, if you need it, maybe Raspberry Pi could be better. If you go to high-end drones, probably we need to use some companion computer like Manifold here from DJI, which is very good, but have some limitations. It's not so open Linux at all. Well, the worst part to do good real world is better. It's hard to buy, depends on your country. This cannot fly quite well inside the transportation, but because it explodes. Yes, it's not so easy to handle, but worse. In the last decade in the lab, we were dealing with this battery. We never had an accident, but we take care with this. We must pay attention. After the battles, the weather. Everybody is concerned about rain, snow, but sun is also a problem. And definitely the umbrella is your best friend of the field because protect you from the sun and make you enable to read your own notebook and try to understand what is going on. Definitely, I recommend an umbrella as a second step. Sensors. Inside the campus, control area is very easy to print your own box. This one is a TARDIS from Doctor Who and make nice and fancy sensors. However, the field as sub box is better than the PLA that will melts. If you leave it abandoned on the field is a problem. In the end, you start to use Tupperwares and some cons to explain. Please do not remove it. If you find it, call this number here. And going on, you need to organize. In the past, all each student, each researcher create its own ground station for the field to collect the data, control the experiment, which was a nightmare and a waste of time. We have this ground station. It's very fully available and well documented on the GitHub, which is a basically Python and JSON exchanger. So it's control a subset, or you can send commands and get information from a subset or entire set of nodes and heterogeneous networking, more than one network attached in a single laptop with some props, of course. Uh, and control the entire experiment, start, stop, everything that you are able to do inside a network simulation. You come here and do that and try to collect the data in a synchronized manner. It's very, very handy. Sometimes it's not so simple. UAVs sometimes are like bricks. They like to fall from the sky, which is not good at all. We need to get some SD card. In this specific case, we lost this SD card during autonomous flight. We really needed to understand what is going on, and we spent 3 hours here until the time someone arrived to get its own son onto the university or the campus. That is another point. Simulation time, real world time is another matter. In the real world, 20 minutes are 20 minutes. You cannot run fast forward and run it in 20 seconds. Definitely to run any kind of real world test or validation, we needed to simulate that before many times, changed parameters in order to run. Sometimes you spend 8 hours on the field to take a very good shot, and we needed to simulate that a lot before. So the real world test is just a complement. It's not just a complement, it is a huge complement of the simulation, but simulation is still very valuable to organize that, and the time is always a challenge. I have some results here very briefly, to show some examples. And you have a 802 mesh network, which is predictable to have some handover challenges, and we have 802 15.4, which will have application challenges. Of course, if you have a Aussie model, we have different teams taking into consideration different layers. Yes, you need to understand the full stack here. Yes, in our case, we are focused on the distributed algorithms. We like the idea to just handle network in application level, which is not so simple. We need to come from the transport level, but definitely in LAS and physical is something that our department is not so interested. So here is not so easy to read, but very interesting results. In the left, we have 802.11 network, a mesh network. We try to get data from the ground with drones. And some nodes are impossible to reach data, as S3 here, yes. The colors are solid colors regarding the height of the UAV. Blue is 20 meters high, red is 35 meters high, and black 15 meters high. And that's what we got. So this is both tests. We are preparing the network to run some Houghton meshing experiment regarding basic research paper that we had and enhance it with applied research. And the right side is funnier. Is an enhancement from the last conference last year. This conference represents something in this with this behavior. We enhance the OMNS++ layers regarding that, because the asymptotic behavior is not the same in simulator and the real world. Sometimes we are not simulation something that's too important. This example here and sensor dash button, the solid colors shows the trade-off between high, which has more line of sight between the radius, and power, which has more proximity from the nodes. However, the 35 meters have better results than the 50 and 20 meters. And simulation shows a very completely different. Simulation just takes into consideration the strength of the radio power, is FANETs++. In the same, depends on the position. And the same S9, you can see a parallel, which is not true, it's not similar. This was a specific map that we did a lot of simulations until find some map that shows so big difference. The last result here to be faster. We have two drones get away from each other. We have this specific Raspberry Pi, which we test a lot of cards, USB dongles and stuff, and we find that the best solution so far is hack the board, solder external antenna, and do the test. These two UAVs in blue have the TCP rates and green um, UDP rates. Then we show here what we sometimes call bandwidth between two UAVs. Definitely UDP with flow control is more stable, and TCP definitely is going decays very quickly in the end. And we have this field test until 200 meters. Red line is the tendency line, so UDP is very more trustful in this specific case. Talking about OSI model, um, these two lines here, 50, 40 and 60 meters, when we're talking about application level TCP, we think, okay, there was a tree or something, but there was a problem here, but not. There was nothing here. Rerun, and rerun again the test until we go back to the lab and check the 2.5 gigahertz spectrum, how it works, and we'll have some models. And definitely around 50 meters, 46, 45, I don't remember exactly. We have a predictable problem with the signal. So until we go back and check it, we thought that we have a fail in such test. Okay, in the end, I say, let's go to the real world. They are very good. They bring very nuances and the results that we cannot find inside of the simulators. We can enhance simulators with this, and is it? But however, simulations is still essential, even for go to the to go to the real world and get more accurate data. So I would like to offer some partnership with other professors. We have this humble test bed, but we would like to share with other professors uh, if they are interested. So thank you very much for your time and available for the questions.